Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of HSP TV. I am your host, Barbara, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Carolina Velis. And our topic for today is one that I've been looking forward to. It's midlife transits. What the fuck is happening to me? This is going to be an amazing one. I'm pretty sure you all have some sort of picture with this introduction. So let me welcome Carolina to the show, and I'm very happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Hello, everybody. My name is Carolina, and I'm an astrologer. I'm the founder of Quest Mystic, and I have a monthly membership where I help women decode their chart so they can live more in alignment and feel like they're not floundering, when we all have those moments where, like, what in the world's happening, which
Yeah.
is what we'll talk about today.
Exactly. And so often on this show we talk about the early stages. And so in the human design and the gene keys, that is considered the first 30 years of your life. And depending on your profile that you have, this is where you have lots of things to learn. And then somewhere around your 30s, and we were just talking about it, it's the when the Saturn return happens.
Hmm.
For some people, like yourself, Carolina, it wasn't really eventful. For other people, it can be a major impact. Like for me, it was a massive burnout that caused me to lose my relationship, my job, my home, my family, and having to start over again, which significantly impacted my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the Saturn return is probably one more sobering transits. And for those listening, a transit is when a planet is aspecting, it's activating some portion of your chart, of your birth chart. And when you study astrology, you quickly learn that there are cycles among cycles. And just like everybody celebrates their birthday each year, that's when the sun returns to the point where it was when you were born. Same with the moon, does that every single month. And Saturn does it every 27, 30 years. And that's why we experience that, as well as again at 60, right? And if you live till 90. So it's a one and done thing. It's a cycle. So as long as the planets are in our cosmos, we will continue to experience these activations. And so, yeah, for me at that age, I was I had just gotten married, bought my home, my first home. I was getting pretty serious with my career. I just transferred from one job to another, and then I got pregnant. And then, if a couple years later, at 32, and this is why it's interesting to understand one's chart. I had a really intense event, medical event, where I was pregnant and I gave birth to my child very, very early. And he was born as a preemie. And then, as from that, I had, like a life crisis because I was faced with a child that really was not well. And so I made the decision with my ex-husband at the time to end his medical care after 5 weeks. And that right there is life changing, right? It turns you into an adult. Like for most, like if you haven't experienced death very much, though, these are the moments. And that's a very Saturnian thing of a reality check and limitations. And because of how the nature of my chart, Saturn had just gone over my actual sun, and the connections within my chart have placements where could be translated as death of a child. And sure enough, that's what I had. And not only death of a child, but unexpected death, for sure. Unexpected death of a child, also a possibility, as well as maybe a possible death of of myself. So, yeah, not everybody experiences these things. And some of us are here to do that,
Mhm.
to experience. And if we're still living, to share and to learn and heal. And depending on what you're up for, you might want to do all of them, or none of them. It's like really depends on you. And
Yeah.
I chose the path of healing eventually.
I, I'm very grateful that you are sharing this because I think that a lot of people can relate to this, and I think that with the unexpected death of your child, that you have been, you look forward to it. It grows
Hmm.
inside of you, and you long for the moment that it's
Hmm.
full grown and comes out and healthy, and then the start of your life with your child. So I can imagine that in that moment, a part of you also died.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Anything related to those dreams, to that person just like died. And I didn't have the resources to process, to heal that, to let it go. I mean, and I just spiraled from there. So from that point on until my early 40s, I would say that I was struggling with being authentic, but not really knowing what that looked like. And I tell people, and I joke about this, like if you're seeking a partner and you're later in age, say you're like after 30 and you've passed, like when this most people get married at that time now, but some of us have an opportunity to live later. Well, if you are able to choose a time, go for later, because the person for the most part doesn't really change. I mean, doesn't really remain the same
Mhm.
and changes a lot. And then by the time you're in like your mid 40s and 50s, you're more of what you are going to be.
Yes. Yes, and then it depends also on your partner. So if you are someone who embraces the change, who goes through the transformation, no matter how painful it might be, and you find yourself and you really discover who you are as a person, but your partner stays stuck at the level where they were, then there's a disconnect. Then you are no
Mhm.
longer able to be in a relationship. And I
Mhm.
think the only time you both get through this if the other person also goes into the transformation and you can let each other be in the transformation, and then afterwards you discover that there's still a beautiful connection, but I
Mhm.
don't think that this is the way it goes for most people.
No. No, I think that's part of the problem with modern marriage is this assumption that, to death to us part, we will be here. But they forget about the portion of like no matter what. And then no matter what is the the clause of the out, right? It's you are going to change no matter what. You are going to evolve no matter what. The relationship will change no matter what. So what are you going to do when that comes? And we're not given the tools, we're not taught that there is this beautiful opportunity to hold that other human and yourself with kindness of this is an opportunity just to witness, because you can't force people to change, and B, you can't force them into what you want them to be. Like they're going to just do their journey, and the more control there's involved, the more it's just not going to work out. um so yeah, our when we mentioned the midlife transits, like these are moments in time that say like early 30s into, some say into like late 50s, early 60s, where the human is just going through soul changes. And
Mhm.
depending on your birth chart and your human design, your path will go like in a very like straight path, like like boom 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 boom, or it'll just go from one jagged edge to the other, and then back to this, and then lose some of that, and eventually you're on a consistency. So each person's path is very different.
Yes, exactly. And there are some people who have a profile or a design that is really challenging, where it really feels like you're going from one shitty thing into the next shitty thing, sometimes even multiple shitty things going on at the same time. And it can feel like you are never getting time to breathe. There's just
Mhm.
always something going on. You're always in crisis mode. There's always shitty stuff happening, and you are wondering, is this really what life is about?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I will say too that there are charts out that exist out there that can be quote unquote very challenging. And um you could look at mine and say that mine is very challenging. I have portions of my chart that are activated that death,
Mhm.
leaving of my homeland as a young age, as an, being an immigrant, um, being so open with my energy that I attracted like really crazy people. Like you hear all these things, like other people will be like, oh yeah, I've done that too. Like, yes, this too. So all these things can appear in the chart. And obviously you have choice, but there's plenty of study back in the day in astrological history where the ancients really believed more from a fatalistic meaning, like this was your fate. And modern times we've moved into more like, no, I am my own sovereign being and I am the driver of my destiny. And there's been plenty of times where that has been knocked off its pedestal where I'm like, what the F? I don't, no matter how prepared I am, I can't see what's going to necessarily happen at
No,
every minute.
I've had talks with other people before where we talked about how the soul, before it reincarnates into a body, needs to learn certain lessons and chooses a life that has the opportunity to learn these lessons. And
Mhm.
that is why certain things sort of need to happen in somebody's life in order for the soul to learn what it needed to learn to grow or to evolve into the next version of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got introduced a long time ago, well, not that long ago, but a book by Michael Newton who did A Journey of the Souls, and he maps that out based on his hypnotherapy work, and he did like past life regressions of his clients and documented, and that is what is shared, that very path. So yeah, I'd say that the experience on Earth is one of a school. Like we're here to learn to be humans.
Mhm.
And you choose before, I believe, before you come here, of what you're going to be. And the soul itself is genderless. It's almost ageless. And it's just its goal is to experience thing, and maybe it's to be like the best human one can be, love, caring, compassionate, and along the way they set up like situations of like, okay, well, you're gonna be an artist and you're gonna live in the countryside and you're not gonna necessarily be supported, and through struggle you will become like someone that really is able to tune into the, like all these things. And then there's some like landmines that get thrown in there.
Yes. What I love is the reference where we have this square where you start off as unconsciously incompetent. That is usually where you start, where things just seem to happen to you. And as some people call you then a victim, I always had a lot of difficulty when people call, oh, but you are acting like a victim. And I think, but these things keep happening to me. And I thought, how else am I supposed to react to it? And I didn't know about spirituality. I wasn't raised in a spiritual family. It isn't taught in school. So I didn't know a lot of these things. So I was unconsciously incompetent, and life happened to me, and I was a victim of the things that happened in my life.
Mhm.
Then you start, or I started learning about spirituality and I started learning about myself. And then you become consciously incompetent because now you're no longer unconscious, you're conscious about vibration, about a soul having a human experience. You start diving into these topics, and then you need to learn to become competent in it. And in the end, you want to be consciously competent. But the in-between step is where you are unconsciously competent, where you sort of sometimes you get it right and sometimes it's still horribly wrong, and you cannot figure out how life works or how to get any grip or control on it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly for sure. I felt like that was my path of awakening, of not really being aware. I've always been very introspective, so I've had that within. Um, but and I've always wondered, like, and see myself, okay, the more negativity that I wrap myself in, the more I feel negative, and more of that chaos comes into my life.
Mhm.
And and for the same reason, I also believe that, the more you speak of, like, I can't imagine doing this forever, I don't want to do this for, I don't blah blah, but the more you state the things that you don't want to do is the very thing that the universe will deliver and be like, I thought you said you didn't want this anymore, and it will just take it away. So yeah, I think that there is a lot of that, and there's definitely a portion of the reality that we create ourselves through our mind, through our actions, through our words, for sure. And then there are real events that are completely, I believe, out of our hands. Like,
Yeah.
I that no matter how prepared spiritually you are, how great your game is for growing your own food, meditating, exercising, blah 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 blah, you can't stop a hurricane from coming,
No.
right? You can't
Or
stop
your
from,
child from
or
dying.
your child from dying. Like, these are many, like, you're, and perhaps it is written in the stars. And that's
Mhm.
why I tell people, like, that there's, like, that it is what it is, and it's how we navigate through those. And and it's almost like we're always fixated on the easy button for life. Like, we don't want to suffer. We
No.
don't want to face realities of this world. Most people don't want to see that there's a lot of death and suffering, just like on the other side of the world. It happens every single day. So I don't know what that says about us. So when you have this mentality of, like, oh, I don't want to suffer, then everything is bad. Everything that comes to you is bad because you're trying to avoid it and you can't deal with it. And that's unhealthy. I honestly think that that's the problem with where we're at in this world right now, is we have lost our ability to self-regulate, and we're such victims to the internet that we're causing our own illnesses and demise.
Yeah, it's dis-ease also,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I've always learned there are basically two ways in which we make choices. It's either love-based or fear-based. And
Hmm.
many of us, we don't want to feel hurt. We don't want to feel disappointed, frustrated, angry, upset, or any of those things. We don't want to be hurt. We just want to stay in a bubble where everything's perfect.
Yeah.
But that's not the real world. And then we can run away from things. We can run away from a marriage that's in trouble because we don't want to feel the pain of fighting for it. Or we run away from this unexpected death of our child and we bury ourselves in drugs or booze or whatever means we take to run away from it. Lots of people take that way out because they either don't see another way forward or they're scared of certain things, but they don't embrace the lesson in it. If you can find the silver lining in things that are happening, then you change your focal point because in the end, energy attracts like energy. So if you are always scared or frustrated or angry or wondering why does this keep happening to me, why do I never have enough money or things like that, then that is basically what you keep attracting in your life.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. I felt that myself, and one thing that I've learned over the years is how important it is for me to maintain my energy and, well, whether that's cleansing or my space, my body, my mind, the food, the people, the TV, the social media, like all the things. And um, yeah, it's very important, people. Like if you're listening to this, if you're like out there struggling, that's like the first thing. Like what are you listening to?
Yes, I never watch the news anymore. I don't read newspapers. And then people say, oh, but I need to be aware of what's going on in the world. Trust me, you are aware of what's going on in the world. Even when you don't watch the news, don't read newspapers, I'm still aware of what's going on in the world. I just choose not to take it in the way that it is presented by most news outlets or newspapers, because it's often not the truth or only half of the truth. And then if you are more sensitive, more energy sensitive, highly sensitive, empathic, then we are image thinkers. So when we get presented with horrible bombing photos or a plane crash accident with everything, our imagination and our energy immediately connects to that, and usually not in a good way. And most of the time we are not able to change anything about it, but it does impact our energy in a very negative way. So people say, but I need to know what's going on in the world. I cannot disconnect from it. Or if I stop watching, does that then mean that I don't care?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my advice for people is like, what are you going to do with all that information? What are you going to do with everything that you're bringing into your space? Like the people you hang out with, the activities that you do, the food that you consume, the all the things. Like if consciousness is important, so what are you engaging with all that? Yeah, I mean, the thing is that people, this is part of what I was saying before. No, people don't want to suffer and they want an easy button. And so
Yeah.
by being reminded that there is suffering, they can then be like, I don't want to suffer. Remind me that I don't want to suffer. And it's really depleting. And the other thing is that it doesn't actually give you any space for you to actually brainstorm and live in a world of dream and creation if you're constantly fixating on what is currently wrong with society, with the world.
Mhm.
Like if you're not out there healing yourself or or somehow helping to and contributing to the solutions, then you're just spinning your wheels.
Yes. Yes, because everything is energy. People are energy, situations are energy, everything is energy. And you, when you awaken and when you start taking really good care of yourself, you need to be aware of the impact of someone's energy or certain situations' energies on you. And if you want to be in control of your manifestations, for instance, the enough money, the love of your life, the house of your dreams, whatever it is that you want in your life, then you need to be really selective with the energy that you allow to be around you, to touch your energy.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, and it's funny because when I look back, I I was in that typical state when I was younger, when I was in my 30s and early 40s. I really struggled with understanding all of this, but I knew there was something else. Like I needed to find a place where I could feel authentic, and but I didn't really realize what that looked like. And what I share with people now is go back to like the state of what makes you feel good as a child. Many of us are disconnected with our ability to dream and play because we're burdened um with responsibilities
Yes,
and expectations
choices.
and choices, and but never in those three things is like you as the first thing.
No.
And you can't really create a life if you first don't deal with yourself. So yeah, play, dance, go to a theater, walk,
Hmm.
um, turn off the turn off the TV, kill your internet for 24 hours and see what happens.
Yes.
Put your phone down. Don't sleep with your phone. Um,
Phones don't
stop.
give any place in my bedroom. They don't even
Yeah,
come down here. And you're absolutely right. It's people have lost the ability to daydream, for instance, and the ability to just jump in puddles when it's raining or kick
yeah,
leaves in the fall because it feels so great when you kick leaves and then you see
yeah,
everything just twirl and it might sound silly to a lot of people because a lot of people still feel that this is very silly, but we need to connect to the joyful, playful energy that we have zero problems connecting with as a child. So if
mhm,
that means just dancing or singing or doing the things that you enjoy, then that is the thing that we need to do without worrying about what others might think or say about it. Because in the end, it's about what you find about yourself, what you say about yourself that matters the most.
yep, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love learning about astrology and all these things and trying to see how to best navigate times.
Hmm.
It's been really helpful to know, like, while I don't look too forward, I look at what's happening, say, within like the 3, 5 year time frame that I can manage.
Yes.
And I intentionally try to work with the energies because that's what they're here for. And I'm a student. I like to tinker, so I like to like see like what happens when I'm focused on this or that, and just tracking things. So I would encourage people to get to know themselves a little bit deeper and see what the cosmos has to say.
Yes. Yes, the tools like astrology, human design, the gene keys, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, there are many, many tools. All of them are just designed to give you certain perspectives or certain insights into how things work or how things could work, how things have worked in the past, so that you can make conscious, informed decisions about what you would like to happen in your life or what you would not like to happen in your life. And uh, nothing is really an answer to anything, but they are things that help you find the answers within yourself, within your design, within your profile, within your chart, because the answers are already there. These are tools that help you translate things that can be really helpful in the sense of for instance, you feel off and you have no idea, and then you think, oh, it's Mercury in retrograde, or it's almost a full moon, or these things that
Mhm.
can influence us. And I've noticed that when I am better, what would be the right word? If I follow these things and I know when they're happening, then they have a less impact on me than when I'm unsuspecting and something just happens. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I try to make some note of what's happening. I'm not as obsessed as I used to be in tracking the planets. Mercury retrograde, I actually really enjoy because it happens so often, 3 to 4 times a year.
Hmm.
And what I like about Mercury retrograde is I actually use it as a time to catch up with my friends. So I intentionally schedule catch up times with them during that time frame. And then what I also like to do on a professional level, that's when I really create things because I find that Mercury retrograde for me is that everything slows down enough in my mind and in my day to day that I could give it more in-depth attention.
Hmm.
And as soon as it starts moving forward, it's like we're off to the races again. And
Yes.
I'm like out there like boom, 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 like create. I'm a manifesting generator. So I'm a rabbit, right? I'm like out there, like that's my mission to create this and do that and be involved in that, blah, blah. But the Mercury retrograde turns it down to a really slow motion
Hmm.
time frame, and I love it.
I
Now
love
I've
that
had some
perspective.
retrogrades in the past that have been problematic,
Mhm.
and they just because of the nature of what was involved in the charts during the time, but for the most part I think it's really wonderful.
Yes, it has a bad reputation. Lots of people blame everything that goes wrong on
Yeah,
Mercury retrograde. That's what
yeah.
you hear, but that's too short.
Well, yeah, well, and that's the funny thing is this is where astrology and humans are so weird, okay? So plenty of people at this point in society in the Western world will say like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that Mercury retrograde." It's like when, and yeah, oh yeah, I've definitely noticed like technology is weird, but then as soon as you talk to them about like the idea of astrology, like I'm not really sure I believe it. But they just proved to you that Mercury retrograde has a visible impact in their life. They just don't know how to connect the two,
Yeah.
right? And so I find that a lot within those that aren't fully in the same camp as I am, and that's okay. Like you're not going to always join us, but just realize like these moments and times are real. Like full moons and emergency room visits, it's a real thing.
Yes.
My dog's
Yes,
come
it
back to
is.
say hi.
Yeah, I love it. And my cat was also already here, but she is sometimes really vocal, so I had to mute myself a little bit as to not cause our viewers any issues. Yeah, so I hope that this already gave you, viewer or watcher out there, a lot of insight into why things are happening, especially when you're somewhere between your 30s and your 60s and you feel that your life is really rocky. And we would love to hear from you. Maybe you could leave us a comment with your experiences or the lessons that you've learned, or maybe the biggest insight from our talk today. I think a last topic that I want to touch upon is that when you are going through these what the F is happening moments in your life, um, it can also mean that you lose certain people in your life. And we already touched upon it a little bit in the relationship corner, but it is also with friends. It helped me to realize that not everybody that comes into your life is meant to stay in your life until you die. And some people have a short role to play, some people have a little bit a longer role to play. But in general, I've noticed that when you start healing yourself, when you are no longer everybody's bitch, to say it that way, or the doormat that everybody walks over, then sometimes you lose people that just keep on expecting that from you. But the good news is that the more you really get to know yourself and the more you heal yourself and allow that authentic version of yourself to come out, then the people who find you later in life are the ones that find the real you, and those friendships are of a very different caliber than the ones I had before.
Yeah, I've gone through that.
Right?
Yeah,
Almost everybody that comes through my
yeah,
practice, yeah.
yeah. I've realized that for me, that's just part of my journey. There, like I said,
Mhm.
I don't, so this is where it's not true for everybody. I think there are people whose charts and who they are as individuals who will have like a group of individuals that will ride with them till death.
Mhm.
And then there are others who are meant to be much more changeable and moving more where it doesn't is not as much of a thing. Yeah. Yeah, anybody, all people that come into your world is a mirror for you, an experience for you to learn about yourself. So
Yes.
just keep that in mind.
Yes, but I wanted to mention this because a lot of people are afraid that if they change, that they lose everybody and that they will end up alone. And for some profiles, yes, there
Yeah,
might be a period in your journey where you heal and transform and where you need to be alone so that you can let everything out that needs to go out, and where you can
yeah,
just be whatever you need to be, whoever you need to be in order to
yeah,
reach your authentic self. So for some people, that is true. And For others, like you said, they have childhood friends that they met when they were two, and they still know each other when they die or one of them dies. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah, very individualistic, very dependent on your path, on your profile, on the planets, on your chart. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And um yeah, the idea that you would lose yourself because you lose others in your life. Like, I mean, to me, that's just like um a very typical of like codependency, of I can't define myself. That's in astrology, that's the sense of self of the sun. And so when we're seeking really like from others to really learn about ourselves, we're out of balance. And when we're seeking entertainment and guidance and fulfillment from others and can't find it within, then we're also out of balance.
Yes.
So ultimately, we need to become our best friends, our own
Yes.
best
Our own
friend.
best friend. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, and I feel like I've finally reached that point where I'm like, I am my own best fucking friend.
Me
Thank
too.
God.
Yeah. I don't need other people to be happy. I don't need other people to feel valued or loved or whatever. I like my own company. That didn't used to be the case when I was younger. I was very
Hmm.
bad at being by myself.
Yep.
Nowadays, I really enjoy my alone time. I go on holidays. I go to whatever. It doesn't really matter. I enjoy it. I also enjoy company of other people. But I also found that now that I enjoy my own company so much, now that I am really my own best friend, I'm also more selective with
Hmm.
who I choose to spend my time with.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have some discernment.
Yes, because I like feeling good. Who
Yeah.
doesn't? And
Yeah.
so you need to be someone that matches my energy and that brings something positive to the equation. Because if you are someone who gets me down, and that's not one time, right? Everybody has a bad day. So
Yeah.
of course I can have a friend that has a shitty day and it might even take it out on me, and then we can talk about it and everything's okay. I also have those moments every now and then. So that's perfectly fine. But if someone is in my life that continues to be a black spot or a thorn in my
Yeah.
side or a constant, well, point of stress
Hmm.
over and over and over again, then yeah, I just stop hanging out with them.
Yeah. I know. I have my moon in Libra, so this is a lesson that I've been learning for a lifetime.
My
Like,
son is in Libra.
like people pleasing, my Pisces rising. I'm like I attract all the moths, and I'm like, oh, yeah,
Mhm.
I'll just love you, and everybody come to me. Yeah, it's a journey. It
Yes,
is a journey of
it is.
self-discovery. So
Yes.
just have some patience for yourself.
Yes, patience and love. And so I think that the most important thing is that you learn to love yourself.
Hmm.
It's and everything that comes with it, your body, your mind, your imperfections, your
Hmm.
talents, everything. And today I went out of the door, and it took me a while to realize that my old self would have never left the house looking like I was looking today. And it's not that there's anything wrong, but I was wearing very short, very biker shorts,
Uh-huh.
a tank top without a bra.
Yeah.
And my old self would never have left the house that way for a multitude of reasons. One,
That's
I've been
hilarious.
called fat my entire life, so as showing your body off that way, oh no, no, it needed to be wide and covering stuff, but also without a bra and what everybody would think. And there's just so much freedom into just being so happy and so okay with yourself, with your body image, with everything that you are, that you just wear whatever feels most comfortable and walk out
Yeah.
the door that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely have become that lady. It
Right?
comes with age and the gray hair. I'm like, I'm not really trying to pretend to do anything else but be me.
No. Well, definitely with age, my hair is still not gray, but I'm there as well. So yeah, it's lessons learned, and also the effort that we've put into healing ourselves.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because just old age is not the only thing that gets us there or isn't guaranteed to get us there. It's really a combination of lessons learned and insights gained and healing done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
I've been
never
loving our
ends.
talk, Carolina, and I
Thank you.
am
Yeah.
very happy that you are here today. I would also love to ask you, if you are still with us, what was your number one insight today? Or if you have a similar story or very different story that you want to share, just leave us a comment. That would be awesome. I can also imagine that you want to know more about your birth chart, about your astrology, about some of the things that we've been naming, and that you want to connect with Carolina. So, where can people find you, and what would be the best way to connect with you?
Yeah. So you can find me on, well, first, if you'd like to grab a freebie, you could just go to my website and it's questmystic.com/S as in Sam, D as in dog, freebie, FREEBIE. If you'd like to book some time with me, it's questmystic.com/book me. And if you'd like to join my Facebook group, it's free for those that are curious, want to dip their toes in, see what my world's about. It's questmystic.com/Facebook. And those would be some great places to start, to get to know me, to experience my world. And I would be happy to help you understand what the stars have to say about your path. And just remember that you're unique, you're beautiful as you are. And I'm here to help you uncover what that magic may be.
I love that. Don't worry if you didn't quite catch the links that Carolina was mentioning. I will make sure that they are included in the show notes, and that means the description of the video. You will probably find it below the video, but it could also be to the sides or above. It kind of depends where you're catching this video at, but I promise you they will be included in the description and the show notes of this video. Same with my links. So if you want to know more about your human design, about your gene keys, or just want to explore what my world looks like, then my links are also in there. And for today, I just want to thank you first, Carolina, for being here, for having this wonderful talk with me. I think
Yeah.
this is something that isn't talked enough about
Mm-hmm.
yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are. That's the thing about midlife. Many, especially women, are shortchanged because not only are we going through astrological changes at a human level, but
Mm,
women's are, if they're a womb carrier, they're also going through some significant body changes,
yeah.
and that adds to all of this. And
Hmm.
it's why understanding that there's multiple things happening at once.
Yes, it's crucial. Yes, I love that addition. Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
you, viewer, watcher out there, thank you for always being here, for your support for this channel, for liking the video, for sharing it, for subscribing. I am very grateful that you are here. I wish you an amazing rest of your day, and I look forward to inspiring you with another great guest in next week's episode. For right now, have an amazing rest of your day.